I'm really, really concerned about young families being able to afford to live in Medicine Hat and to thrive in Medicine Hat, and number one, not to leave Medicine Hat. Our most important asset is not natural gas or our power or anything. Our most important asset is, and always will be, our young people.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch, brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. Gord Cowan joins us today on the Porch, one of 39 candidates seeking one of 8 seats on Medicine Hat City Council. Welcome, Gord.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. I've been looking forward to this. And happy to participate with you. Hopefully I can answer your questions and we can make a little headway.
Yeah. Did you study?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't know what the questions are. So.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I don't know what the answers are either, but I'll give you my best ones.
That's all anybody can ask. Let's just begin by backing up the truck a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What your life experience has been.
Well, born and raised in Swift Current, so not too far away. I've been in Medicine Hat since 1991. I came here to work for Cedar Square Insurance, and my whole working career has been in one industry, and that's the insurance industry. I spent 35 years as a general insurance broker. I earned 2 industry designations. I'm considered what's called a CIP, or a Chartered Insurance Professional, and CAIB, which is a Canadian Accredited Insurance Broker. So that's kind of what led me to Medicine Hat. And once I got here and got working through things, our industry was going through, like many industries do, they go through a period where there's lots of consolidations and stuff. So at that point, I decided to open up my own office. So in 2006, I opened up Cowan Agencies and ended up selling out in about 11 years later. So sold out to a company called Westland, and happy to say that all my previous employees are still there, and everybody's being treated good. And the city of Medicine Hat certainly, helped me along the way. Got me over the hump and through the tough periods, and I learned to love the city. So. Once retirement came around, I tried a few different things, and it all led to this run for council. It just, I have a passion for affordability. I'm really, really concerned about young families being able to afford to live in Medicine Hat and to thrive in Medicine Hat, and number one, not to leave Medicine Hat. Our most important asset is not natural gas or our power or anything. Our most important asset is, and always will be, our young people.
So you have experience as a small business person in Medicine Hat. We have heard stories about maybe it might not be the easiest place to do business with the corporation, the city of Medicine Hat. What was your experience?
Small businesses, and of course you know lots of small business people, as do I, and it's tough. It's a whole different world when you sign the front of the paychecks. It's a different ball game.
You're gonna make payroll.
That's right. And I had 9 to 11 employees over the course of my career as a business owner. So, you learn, and you learn fast. And the situations that come up are real-time situations that have to be worked through. And sometimes when you're working through those situations, you may have a shortfall in cash flow or whatever. In our business, I was lucky enough that I had a couple silent partners. We used our own money. We never did have a bank loan. So it was okay in that respect, but we still had to, hold our feet to the fire. And when things got tough and there didn't seem to be any other alternatives, you find them. You find other alternatives because you can't just keep going to the well. And that kind of leads me to, the affordability situation.
I was going to say there's a parallel there.
Yeah. And I went through all my business life knowing that there is alternatives to just saying we need a tax increase. We need to add another service fee to our utility bills, this and that and everything else. And there has to be another way. There is another way. It's just a matter of that you're in the mindset to find that. And that you're passionate enough to want to help, say, maybe not just the young people, but the seniors and everybody else in our community. We all feel the pinch, and we want to attract industry to Medicine Hat. Well, we're not going to attract industry to Medicine Hat if the people that are planning on moving here have some sort of vision that Medicine Hat's an expensive city to live in, or it's not affordable for young people, because those industries need the young people, right? That's their future employees.
So I guess economic development would be at one of the top things on your agenda.
Yes, it is. I'm convinced and passionately dedicated to finding ways to lower the cost of City Hall, bring down as many and all and as many costs as possible. Priority spending. As I go around and talk to people at the doors while we're knocking on doors and enjoying their company, Division Avenue comes up. Well, I don't know how many millions of dollars was poured in Division Avenue, but frankly, I haven't really found anybody that feels that it was necessarily a good thing for Medicine Hat. I mean, we hear complaints about people driving over curbs to make the corner so the front of their vehicle isn't imposing in the oncoming lane, and different things like that. Well, those are things where the existing council, they have to be on top of that kind of stuff. If they're spending millions and millions of dollars, at least spend it on something that people like and something that's going to be functional. So I think there's lots of opportunities to bring a different mindset to City Hall, and a mindset that just states, our tax base has hit the wall. I mean, I can't afford any more taxes. My utility bills, in my mind, are outrageous, because my last one was $369. $160 of it was fees and service charges. I can remember a day in Medicine Hat when I used to get a utility bill, didn't have any fees or any service charges on it. It was affordable. And for whatever reason, things evolve, and it's like, we got to start taking the puzzle apart and then putting it back together.
You mentioned those fees, and that has been a sore point for many people, particularly the municipal access fee, which is one of the special interest groups formed to try to see if City Hall could get rid of that. Problem is that we still need to have the infrastructure to get those utilities to your doorstep. So how do we pay for them if it's not through a fee?
Yeah, it is. And I guess what we do is we start looking at, and maybe you don't want to use the word double dipping, but my taxes go to pay the wages of the staff at City Hall. So my utility bill shouldn't reflect a service fee for them to send me a bill. The MCAF that you mentioned, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if that's legal. Because what the MCAF is, and what it was designed to do, is if a company like ATCO, for example, moves into Redcliffe, decides to do business there. They open up an office. So what that fee was designed to do is give the company that's providing the service a fee that they can charge for their operating costs of an office or something like that. With all due respect, we don't have ATCO in Medicine Hat, nor do we have any of the others. We have Medicine Hat, and we don't have a separate office that had to be opened up for them to, use to, write that. That's a tax grab. That's nothing more than. In fact, it's not even charged in Redcliffe, a place that can charge it. They don't even use it. And lots of other communities don't use it. When I had a property in the Crow's Nest Pass, I dealt with ATCO. And there was no MCAF fee on my utility bill. It's just not required. And yes, it's, I think my average bill, I watch it, and it's between, $17 and $25 a month just for that. Well, that's a starting point. That comes off. Why the city of Medicine Hat even brought it in, I don't know. I do know for a fact, in speaking to a colleague of mine, Mr. Clugson Ted, and we asked him about that, and this was like a year or so ago, and Ted said, we did bring that in at council, and we brought it in during the COVID year to generate, and it generates, I don't know, somebody said around $12 million a year in increased fees and so on. But Ted said that we planned to bring that in and only keep it on for 1 year. And then, of course, the following year he was not elected as mayor. There was, incumbent councillors that knew Ted had said that, and they all agreed that it would stay on for that 1 year. And there it is. Yeah.
Well, I'm reminded of, I think I heard once upon a time that income tax was a temporary measure.
Yeah, isn't that the truth of it? And it's hard. It's hard for running City Hall, a $500 million operation. It isn't easy. I mean, my little business, I generated $10 million a year in sales, and that was a handful. I mean, you really had to keep your eyes on your fries. But running a project the size of Medicine Hat, dealing with all different levels of government, your employees in a lot of cases are unionized and different things like that. It's not an easy job. And with all due respect, it's not a part-time job either.
No, that is the key. Do you have the time to devote?
That's exactly it. When I decided to do this, my wife and I, we had a property in, like I said, in the Crow's Nest, and that might not be a bad place to retire, but we decided to give it 5 years, and at this spring, we thought, no, we're going to stay in Medicine Hat, and we ended up selling that property, and so, we're here. We always kept our home here, obviously, but it was something that she knew and that we both had an interest in, and by being back here full time, I have full time to put towards this. So I'm not looking for a job, but I'm looking for. I have a passion for trying just to get my nose in there and help. I don't have any visions of big egos or any of that type of thing. I'm in it for the people and only for the people.
With your concern over the utility rates and whatnot, are you aligned with the Medicine Hat Ratepayers Association?
I actually went to a few of the Medicine Hat Ratepayers Association meetings initially, and I like what they were doing. I think obviously that was prompted by a oddball increase in electrical rates, and the city of Medicine Hat was affected by that quite dramatically. So as often happens, is concerned people, come to the forefront. And Sue, I think it's Sue Boss.
Sue Boss,
yes. Yeah, she's a very passionate lady. And she only had the good of Medicine Hat in her mind. And she formed the group, and it took off. And I was part of their group in its beginning, but I always knew that I would be running for council eventually. And so being on that group and running for council, you just couldn't put those things together. You got to do one or the other.
It's we've seen this in Calgary and Edmonton now, where they're allowed to have party politics. In Medicine Hat, we don't see it maybe front forward facing, but there is some concern that there are some candidates who are aligned, and if they get in, they'll vote as a bloc. So that's why I had to ask the question.
Yeah, and that's a good question. And certainly, I think in any situation, it's to do with politics. It's going to fall back to you've got a left-wing group and you've got a right-wing group. And eventually, I work. My campaign is. I campaign independently and everything. I have my own voice, my own mind, but I work with other people, other candidates on. We share resources. We bounce things back and forth off each other. We're certainly not a slate, because a slate is illegal. It can't be done. But we work in a team atmosphere. I don't think that really is going to give us any advantage on who's all elected. There is my choice of mayor is solely made on the mayors or the candidates for mayor that see my vision. Lower taxes, tax freeze, those types of things. If they want to do that, well, I'm in their camp, and I'm not. That's just the way it is. But as far as a slate goes, no, I'm not part of a slate. And you see it all through. I mean, you've seen it, and I've seen it in past elections where. Obviously, we have a strong union presence in Medicine Hat, and getting closer to the election date, I've seen the letters that the union sends out and said, these are the people that we want you to vote for, and they send that to their entire membership. Well, that's a slate. They say these are the candidates that we want you to support, but then again, it doesn't really mean anything. The union members have their own voices and their own minds, and if they choose to follow those people, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, and I don't have a problem with any of the candidates in this race that may be a little on the left compared to where I'm at, taking advantage of those situations. That's just politics.
And no one side has, I guess, a monopoly on good ideas.
No, not at all. No. And it's just a matter, it's being honest and, coming out and just saying, these are the things that I believe in. And I do run an independent campaign. And yes, I have door knocked with my colleagues. And I will continue to do that because they're friends of mine. They have been for years, and they think a lot along the same lines that I think. And in my mind, being able to be mentored by them or listen to their perspectives, and certainly some of them are the same as mine, some of them aren't. Okay. But as far as being in a slate, no, I'm not on a slate.
One of the big things, and you mentioned the time and the effort it takes to be a councillor in Medicine Hat, is to deal with the utilities and the energy department, and there is a proposal that maybe that should be removed and put it at arm's length with a municipal controlled corporation. Your thoughts?
I don't really like that. I like the utilities the way they're operating now. I don't have a problem with that. I think there's a lot of areas in there that we can, create some savings and things like that. As far as the electrical department, it's a must as far as I'm concerned. It has to stay. It certainly does give us an avenue and an opportunity in times of fluctuating power prices that the city can make a lot of money. And, that's money that can be reinvested to lower taxes and different things like that. The gas side of it is a little different ball of wax, because the gas side of it does come with a liability with respect to orphan wells.
Cleanup. Yep.
Yeah. So that has to be viewed a little bit differently. And it's anything, of course, that creates a liability is something that you really want to pay attention to, and is something that's concerning. When you look at the electrical department, the opportunities to make money are huge. So obviously that's a yes. The gas side could backfire on you, and you could end up with a lot of liabilities that would end up coming out of the city's coffers. That said, there's also avenues for provincial and federal government participation in those costs and so on. So I'm not a proponent of anything other than power supply, like that create load-based power supply. I think there is an idea and a place for wind. I'm not at all happy with the way it looks, because it really does. I'm a bit of a Western, I have a real interest in Western culture, and the land is important to me. And if you make a drive from here to Warner, you go the back roads. It's changed. The landscape has changed. So I'm not really a proponent of that. I know it has to be, and we have to look at it. I don't think we should be subsidizing it all. I think it should stand on its own. I think we have to recognize it's not baseload power. And as far as solar is concerned, I'm just not.
That was what I was going to ask you, the other half of that.
I just don't like it at all.
So your thumbs down on the Santa Solar project?
Absolutely. You know what I'd rather do is plant 4 million maple trees out there and let the maple trees recoup the soil, and invite Ducks Unlimited in to put in a habitat for things like that, and create I guess you could call it a carbon sink or whatever you want, but I don't want to see solar panels like I see when I drive through Brooks.
Another question too has to do with the people who are homeless and drug abuse and crime, etc. That is, some people linked to the mustard seed and the people who have been using that. There's a plan now to move that up into Briar Park and the old youth hostel, the labor hall. What do you think about that?
I think the infrastructure is perfect. I mean, it's nice infrastructure. It's roomy. It could certainly be developed into everything that we need to help and engage our homeless community. I just don't know if it's in the right place. I'm a little concerned that those people, they're still going to move to and work their days through other areas of the city, but they have to come from one place now all to whether they go downtown or whether they go up to the mall or the different things. And of course, in the winter months, a lot of that is determined by how cold it is and, where they can seek shelter inside. So it's a difficult situation. The crime part of it bothers me terribly. I mean, just last week in front of your office, I came out of the bank downstairs, and I went across at the crosswalk, and a fella walked up to a girl. She was kind of leaning against the building, and they made an exchange. Obviously, it was a drug deal. And she just opened up her package right there, took her pipe out. This is 2:30 in the afternoon.
In broad daylight.
In broad daylight on a Tuesday afternoon. I was floored. it just shocked me. I almost couldn't believe it. And she kind of looked at me like I had two heads, I guess, and if for her that was just life. But it can't happen on our city streets. The city has made a terrific investment in downtown Medicine Hat, and it's a nice investment. We have, the streets are nice. It's a good looking, things were done right, and the traffic still flows. We don't have parking meters, and 30 or 50 people, based on their current situation, make it hard for a lot of the community to want to be downtown. And we really have to straighten that out. So I think I'd like to see stronger enforcement. I'd like to see the ones that are committing crimes and making drug deals on the street. I want those people in jail where they belong, and not just on a catch and release basis. And from the social side of it, I think we have to work with the social net created by, the food bank, mustard seed, some of the churches and things like that. We have to coordinate with them, but we have to be an active partner, and we have to be dedicated and willing to not just tell them what we want, but listen to what they say. The good Lord blessed us all with 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and that is to listen to what the people. Get those people together, find out what their concerns. I've talked to several homeless people on the street. I just do. How's your day going? Can I buy you a coffee, or do you need a sandwich or anything? And a lot of those people, they all have stories. They all have a mom, and they all have a dad and a grandmother, and it's easy just to discount them as a part of society we just want to ignore, but can't be ignored because it's part of who we are, and like every other community, we have to deal with it based on the types of situation and the problems that it creates in our community. It might be different in Lethbridge or Tabor or wherever, but we have to do something about that.
Gord Cowan, candidate for Medicine Hat City Council on October 20th. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. It was good. Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.